Hello and welcome to the newest and most exciting podcast on the block, Box Media Talk, brought to you by Box Media TV, the one and only platform that brings together boxing news, entertainment, features and education, all packaged concisely and nicely as a gift from us to you.
Box Media Talks, brought to you by Box Media TV. Podcast number 5, I believe. Look, guys, with Tyson Fury relinquishing his heavyweight titles, division effectively being blown apart and open at the championship level, then with the impending announcements of high-level heavyweight clashes for the likes of Hayt and Joshua that, I'm checking my watch, still haven't materialised. In today's podcast, we ask the heavyweight division, what the hell is going on? I'm fighting Ed. In my opposite corner, we have Adrian, the hashtag Greenland. Terry, Dirt Dog Chapandama. Junior, the Rose Johnson. Gentleman. What the hell's going on? Junior.
It's quite exciting, really. I think by the end of the year, we could have like 4 or 5 champions in the heavyweight division. Strong champions. I mean, you've got Parker and Ruiz potentially fighting for the WBO strap. Wilder being the WBC champion. Joshua, IBF. Maybe Klitschko, WBA champion.
Junior, sorry to interject. You're excited by the prospect of Klitschko fighting Lucas Brown in Dusseldorf, are you?
I'm not excited by that fight, no. But I'm excited by the fact that there could be 5 strong heavyweight champions by the end of the year, and I'm excited by there being one eventual undisputed heavyweight champion and the series of fights that would eventually take place for that to happen. It's exciting. I think we could be. This is the best the heavyweight division has been since probably Holyfield Lewis.
Bold claims, Junior. The best the heavyweight division has been. Excitement. Terry, what's your take?
We'll be here in a year's time talking about how many great fights can happen. Nothing's going to happen. If you look, the only people who've actually been clear about where they want their belts to go are the WBO. So the WBO have been very clear and said it's Parker versus Ruiz for the WBO title. The winner of that will fight. I think it's David Hay they'll fight next. I don't know how that works with their rankings, but they basically made it absolutely clear that who's fighting for their belt. The WBA is still talking with their lawyers because they've now realised they can't stitch over Lucas Brown, and Klitschko doesn't want to pay Lucas Brown any money. So it looks like that fight's going to have to happen, which will then leave us in a position where, and if you go back to what Vladimir Klitschko once said, and he said if you knew how much effort it is to remain unified champion, you wouldn't do it. So the Klitschko spent a lot of money controlling those belts, and I don't think we will see anyone able to do that anymore. So I think we'll just have probably 3 or 4 champions now ad infinitum.
Well, I mean, it appears that way. Eddie Hearn's attempted to do that and failed at the first hurdle in trying to somehow instill the Joshua Klitschko fight as being a fight to be unified champion of the heavyweight division with a load of belts that they had no right to fight for. I mean, what do you make of that move that, for the time being, seems to have failed?
It was always going to fail because all these governing bodies have rules, and if you're a beneficiary of those rules, the minute someone tries to do you out of your position, you're going to sue. And these governing bodies don't want to be involved in lengthy lawsuits, which invariably happen in the US. So,
but really, Terry, they seem to have rules, except when someone who owns or near to a belt is willing to pay them their sanctioning fees. Look at the Canelo example. I mean, Junior, you were fairly confident that Eddie Hearn had the money and the manoeuvres to make this fight happen. Joshua Klitschko. Do you think it'll still be announced?
Yeah, I was. No, I don't think it'll still be announced. No, I think we went down the wrong roads there. So, I think it's going to be probably Klitschko Brown. That seems to be the most talked about solution here. I mean, Shannon Briggs came out and said he was offered the Klitschko fight as well. So it does seem like Klitschko is looking for a an easy way to claim the WBA heavyweight title if possible. You know, we've also got Ustinov in the picture there, and the thing that we kind of mentioned before is that Eddie Hearn's got a trump card up his sleeve, and that trump card is Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz is ranked number 1 by the WBA. He's been the interim champion for over maybe 2 years, I think. So if Klitschko does try to do a little power move and say, all right, I want to fight an easier contender for the WBA title, he can say, look, the number 1 guy is Luis Ortiz. Fight Luis Ortiz. He could try and bully him into taking a Joshua fight.
I don't think Ortiz is number 1.
He's not. He was. He has.
He
been.
was. I think he's relinquished. I think he's relinquished that.
It's the interim title he's relinquished, but he's still number 1.
No. I know when the WBA were going through their list, like they don't even mention Ortiz.
Yeah, that's because Hearn tied him up, hasn't he? He's tied him up with.
No, they don't. If he's not, it means he's interim champ. So they will only mention the number 1 contender. He means he's beyond that.
He's been interim champ for a long time. You know, it's the same thing they did with Eubank Jr. Do you remember when he fought Chudinov and was interim champ for however long? He was supposed to fight Jacobs, but that never materialised either. The WBA have made a mess of the title situation for a long time, and this is why they tried to have that WBA heavyweight tournament, which was mooted, and through injuries, retirement, suspensions. You know, it's not materialised at all. Brown got suspended. Oquendo's been injured for his whole career, 2 years now.
To be honest, guys, this is what I was concerned about when we talked about the subject for this podcast. They'll be sucked into this tiring, this draining, myriad, this maze of discussions around the governing bodies that leave us all towards the end of October with no fights declared and 10 different apparent champions. With only a limited number having the pedigree to actually be a world champion. The heavyweight division, how do we cut through these 10, 15, 20 governing bodies and talk about the top 1, 2, 3 elite fighters? How's that going to emerge over the next 2-3 years?
Simple, money. And I think Joshua is the cash cow at the moment. If you look, we had a discussion last couple of podcasts ago. We were talking about is pay-per-view boxing dead? Yeah, Canelo seems to be the only other pay-per-view star right now. The money. That's why you've got people like Luis Ortiz signing with Matchroom, because the money's over here. In pay-per-view boxing. I think Dillian White and Joshua fight did amazing pay-per-view numbers. Something over 400,000. I think was muted last time. So the money is coming back in Britain. I think so. I think that's what's going to draw the competitors here, really.
I agree with Junior on that one. I think it's quite obvious the way the landscape's going to go. We've got the titles from now till probably the end of next year. They'll probably exchange hands a few times, but then it will level off, and it will realistically level off in the direction of either Wilder unifying all of the titles, Joshua grabbing 1 or 2 here or there, or Klitschko grabbing 1 or 2. Ortiz may be in the mix, so there's 4 guys there who could potentially win. Between them, the titles will go to. I don't think outside of those 4 guys, when the mess when the mess clears, I think it's going to all of those 4. So for each governing body, I feel like it is kind of a money making exercise from now till then, to make these Ruiz Parker big mega fights for these big titles. And realistically, I don't really think they are big fights, and it's just going to go to the 4 guys.
Why there's confidence that Klitschko is amongst those 4 elite fighters and he could collect 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of these titles? I mean, he's just been he's most recently been taken to school by the Tyson Fury. How will he assume his elite position at the top of the division just like that, Adrian?
I think the thing with Klitschko is that he's a cherry picker in some respects. So he's going to put himself in the mix, whether he wins or not. He's neither here nor there, but he will more than likely pick a guy where he's in a better position to win. There may be a surprise again, like the Fury situation, but
you put Fury out the picture now for the time being anyway. Back to the norm. Is that
Fury is out of the picture? I don't really know. I'm not really too sure about the length of time of when he'll have the layoff for. I don't know if you guys have more information on that, but until then, you can't really put Fury in the picture. He adds another element which is exciting when he does come back, but I don't know when he's back.
So, what, I mean, guys, what are your thoughts on this? We kind of stated, Adrian stated, elite four fighters being Wilder, Joshua, not Fury, Klitschko, and Ortiz, and that the landscape over the next 2-3 years sees these guys, dominating, owning all of the titles, and at some point potentially, fighting amongst themselves to unify. What's your take on that? Is it going to be these four? Is it elite 3 or 4, or are there going to be some new young guns emerging? Terry.
It'll be the same, man. Like, we'll be here next year. Look, the same amount of money in boxing next year is the same amount as this year. If they couldn't make the fights this year, I don't think there's any more money in the pot to make them for next year. So, the belts. Look, Parker has a belt. He'll sit on that belt until he can have a unification bout that's lucrative enough for him to risk it. Otherwise, he will just keep fighting WBO contenders. Why not? He perfectly within his right to do so. When Wilder comes back and reclaims his title, he'll do the same thing. He'll just go down his list until someone offers him a reasonable deal. And Klitschko makes money, whatever. Like, the deal he has with German TV is incredible. So basically, he's okay for money. He doesn't have to worry about these sorts of things. And Eddie Hearn will never let Joshua fight in another country because it's bad for his profitability. So we have all of these obstacles, and I don't think the governing bodies can do anything about that. And more importantly, I don't think there's a desire between the top guys to prove themselves. The only guy I think would fight anyone is David Haye, but that's because he's in that position where he has to just, swing for the stands now.
I tend to disagree. I think Wilder would fight anyone. I think Wilder would fight. Let's be brutally honest. I think most of them would fight anyone. I think it's their management and promoters that steer them in the more strategically prosperous direction. But what? Okay, so we have these four dominating, but sometimes the governing bodies can be a bit naughty. All right. Say you have someone injured, someone out. You have the Fury Wilder situation. You have an eliminator, and somehow or other you end up with someone like Prince Charles Martin with a title. What the hell? What's going on there? Was that something designed, engineered by Eddie Hearn for Joshua to get his hands on the title as easily as possible by someone who, as far as I know, wasn't actually a boxer?
No. Whoa. If you go back to that at the time, like if you'd gone to the IBF rankings a year before that, they were actually quite healthy rankings. But if you elect to fight for other titles or eliminators for other bouts, then the IBF pull you out of their rankings. So what happened was they just went down the list and said who's available to fight for this, and it was Glasgow and Martin. The IBF will never deviate from their rankings. They're the only governing body where, because they're in America and they've been sued in America for playing around with the rankings in the early 80s, they've got hammered for that. They stick to their rules now. Even if their rules aren't perfect, you can just go down the list with the IBF and work out who's going to fight who.
So I mean, on that basis, and this could be a bit of an interpretive leap here, is it then the IBF heavyweight champion who's the most legitimate?
Well, that's going to be the argument, isn't it? Like, when you have all these other champions, who is the top guy? And that's going to be the argument that has got to be settled. But I just want to mention one thing. Terry, hold on. Did you just say that David Haye is the only heavyweight that would fight anybody when he's only fought a corn snake since he's come back? Did you just say that David Haye is the only heavyweight that would fight anybody when all he's fought, as Dillian would say, is a corn snake since he's come back? You know what I mean? Yeah, he wouldn't fight Briggs. He wouldn't fight. He pulled out of Fury fights twice. I can't believe you say that David Haye is the only heavyweight to fight anybody.
He was injured. He was injured for those fights.
You can't say David Haye he's the only heavyweight that would fight anybody when he's pulled out of so many fights. And just only fought the Jagger Jab and whoever else. You know?
No. But let's be realistic about the standard we hold David Haye to. If David Haye doesn't fight anyone of Fury, Joshua, Klitschko, or Wilder, I don't know if I repeated Wilder, or even Ortiz, if he doesn't fight any of those, we're just going to say he fought a bum. That's the standard we hold him to. So he sits there and goes, well, if I'm not going to get these top guys, it doesn't really matter who I fight.
But on the Haye subject, and Ed mentioning about the governing bodies being naughty, how has Haye fought the corn snake, as Mr. White would describe him, and also the dustbin cleaner as Mr. Bellew would describe him also? How has he spiked up the rankings so quickly?
That was intelligent though, because those guys, Demore was ranked number 10 by the WBA, and Hayes a former champion, and the Corn Snake was ranked somehow, like he was quite highly ranked at the WBO. I think he was, because he was undefeated. I think he was ranked number 16 or something. So
I tend to go. Look, let's be clear. I agree with Terry in that David Hay would fight anyone. When I was out in Miami earlier this year, I happened to bump into him at the Fifth Street gym, and he's relaxed, he's casual. He's ready for anyone to even pop into a gym and to get in his face, and he'll do it. So he fears no one. David Hay is managing or promoting himself, so there's a wider business context to any fight decision that he makes. He's the person who has to come up with the funding and the pot of money for his opponent as well. So these are the kind of decisions that he's making. So he has to balance the risk and the business case behind every fight prior to taking it from a financial perspective. So that's why he makes the decisions he does, I believe. But I think he's willing and ready to fight anyone. I do believe that.
Yeah, so he's willing to fight anybody for the right price, basically. It's just money.
Ooh, and based on that sentence,
we'll tell you. You can't just say the guy would fight anybody when he's pulled out so many fights. It's just not.
But no, wait, hold on. He's pulled out injured. They're legitimate injuries. He's carrying the injuries now.
Was he injured against Briggs? Because that was a verbal.
No. But he's
not injured now, is he? He was due to fight Briggs.
No, wait, hold on. Wait. He explained that. He said, look, the fact of the matter is, and everyone knows this, Briggs is blackballed on American TV. That's why he comes over here. He's not. They won't broadcast a Briggs fight on TV. That's why Vladimir hasn't fought him. That's why no one's fought him. So Hayes saying to himself, look, Briggs wants a big payday, but this isn't going to generate a big payday. So where does he want me to give him a payday from?
No, I understand it from a business perspective, but you can't then say he's willing to fight everybody when there's so many fights that he's pulled out of. That's just not fair. It's not fair.
All right, guys. This one's a decent one.
Wait. One last point. You're telling me if Shannon Briggs walked into David Hayes' gym tonight and said, "Let's do rounds," you're telling me Hay would walk out the gym? I don't think so.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, look, you've obviously made an argument that from a business perspective, those are the reasons he hasn't fought those fights. I accept that, but then you can't make that statement that he'll fight anybody because he's pulled out so many fights. It's just
right.
simply,
Okay. Let's. What I will say is, I think that one's a fairly specific point around this particular fighter. Junior made an excellent point. Said, is he willing to fight anyone at the right price? I want to hang on to the word price that Junior used there, and let's talk about David Price. All right, he is one of the fighters who's willing to put on the gloves and get in that squared circle against Anthony Joshua on the 10th of December. Why isn't that going to happen? Why is that fight not going to happen? Adrian.
I don't think. Let's be honest. David Price, Anthony Joshua. Price isn't really a challenge for him. I think these old school tells from the gym stories that he's tried to leak out. It's just a bit of ego, flexing the theoretical biceps. I don't really see how. What he possesses, people say
he has the power to knock out Joshua. It's proven.
I think it's all in the past. Dylan White, we've all got YouTube. We can all see the video when he knocked down Anthony Joshua back in the ABAs or wherever it was, and the way that one played out was quite different. So I'm not really a big fan of fighters coming out and saying, yeah, back in the day I used to do this and I knocked out this guy in sparring and this and that. I mean, sparring is sparring. When you get in the squared circle under the lights, only certain people can perform under the lights. I watched David Price's last fight against I don't know who he was. It was in the Germany card. The cleverly Bremer card, and it was very unimpressive. I just don't see where he goes with that one.
But financially, in terms of the available fighters, the people who are willing to fight Anthony Joshua are available on the 10th and are willing to accept the relatively small purse that Eddie will offer now on the basis that it's not a fight with a huge business case. Is he not the best option?
I think you look at it the way you need to look at it in two ways. Obviously, you look at it financially. So what's he going to bring home at the end of the day? And I think he could probably bring home a decent amount of money, which is good. On the other side, if we're looking in terms of career direction, if he gets knocked out by Anthony Joshua, which will more than likely happen in my opinion, then where does he go from there? his career's already kind of marred with two knockout losses, both sort of drugs surrounded, so they didn't really, didn't count in their eyes. But at the end of the day, he took the punishment, and I don't really see where he goes from a KO loss to Anthony Joshua.
Adrian, you're going down the road of how do we preserve David Price's career as a journeyman. No one cares, right? We're talking about how do we have a big fight this year. I mean, in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, but I think that's a factor. At the end of the day, that's a factor. That's a factor as David Price. He needs to make that choice as to where he wants to go with his career. In terms of the big fight, I think that the Joshua Klitschko fight's been longed out for so long now that any viable options, they've been blackballed. What are the options? That's the only option he has left that the British public will watch. I don't think the Americans will be that interested in it.
No. There's lots of options, but Eddie Hearn's not going to put up the money.
What are the options? I don't think there's.
You could fight Ortiz, right?
Eric Molina as well.
You could
mentioned as well.
Exactly. There's David Hay
and Duke Harpers and all those guys.
Yeah, but he was obviously going down the route of fighting Klitschko with the incentive of belts. I think the WBA belt at his choosing, but obviously that's not an option now. So I feel like
I think that's one of Klitschko's requirements. Okay. So there's no options. Okay, I'm sure. What about all these up and coming guys? What about some from America? What about Big Baby Gerald? Big Baby.
But
why don't you fight him on the 10th?
No, but I think in terms of from Eddie Hearn's perspective as well, if you can't get the belt, then at least try and make it a massive domestic fight. And the British public...
Hence David Price. So therefore, you support my argument, Adrian.
Well, I mean, what else has he got to do? What else has he got to do? From a British perspective, he has to fight the biggest name in Britain if he can't have a belt out for grabs.
Which is David Hay, and he's not going to do that because of the risk.
Hay's fighting as well. Big announcement coming soon, as he said. So options are limited. It is a business.
So let's be clear. There will be no big announcement from Hay about any fight in December. I think we can agree on that. Junior?
Yeah. I got suckered into that one as well. I was so excited. I was like, who's he fighting? Is he announcing the Brown?
The announcement lasted about
fighting
3 days, Junior. It's still not cut. I think Thursday the announcement.
No, he announced it. He's fighting cancer. That's what he said.
Oh, mate. Are you being serious?
No, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I'm a big David Hay fan. Don't get me wrong, Terry. I'm a big David Hay fan. But I'm just frustrated. I want to see him in the ring with somebody. It's been like the last person he's been in the ring with, like of any note, was Chisora. And how long ago was that?
All right, guys. All right, Box Media talks, and we are talking today. All right. So he talks about the main guys. Who's going to dominate the division over the next 3-4 years? We said it's going to be Joshua, Wilder, Ortiz, Klitschko. Who's going to emerge in the next 3 years? Whose name are we going to start saying is next contender, or that the champion should avoid him? Is Dillian White going to reappear? Gerald Big Baby Miller, as we discussed. Who do we see coming through? Anyone coming from the amateurs, maybe? Terry.
We'll probably get the same nonsense we already had. And in the States, they're quite happy with the progress Damari Rock's making. I'm not. They're happy with Laron Mitchell, so they seem to be the heavyweights they're backing. Over here, Con Sheehan's making a lot of noise. Nathan Gorman's making a lot of noise. Quite like Gorman, actually. If Hatton can get him to box properly, he looks like he can do some damage. He's a wonderful technical boxer, but there isn't a guy who's laying waste to people at the moment. There isn't that monster yet. We haven't seen one. I don't think we've seen a legitimate monster in the amateurs or the pros below the age of 22. So that's what we're all looking out for. I think there are guys who can box and the guys that look good, but the heavyweight division is about just guys laying waste to opponents and leaving them on the floor. And I'm not really seeing that. I mean, there's a couple of guys in Europe, but guys like, I think it's Otto Wallin, all these sort of younger guys, but they're not beating anyone.
Can I pick one? One that really excites me, and I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Izu Uguno.
Oh, the Polish Nigerian. The Polish Nigerian.
Yeah, he looks frightening to me. He looks really.
Yeah. Good. So the one thing that worries me about that one is he's part of, or was initially part of the same camp as Parker at one time, I think. And
did I pronounce it right?
I don't know. Okay. But we'll go with that for now. And well done on that for the records. what I will say is that he was touted as being part of the same camp as Parker. Parker was always presented as being the one that was more advanced. But I tend to agree with you. Maybe it's a marketing thing, but I tend to agree with you. Athletically, in box and what I've seen from him as well as a boxer, he looks very, very good. I think. Do I know anything about his opponents? He's been laying waste to? No, not a single thing. So we shall see. But yeah, that's a very good shout, Junior.
Remember, the guy's 29, and that's a Nigerian 29.
How old is Ortiz? Luis Ortiz. He must be about.
I've heard people say he's in his 40s. You know that.
How old is
Yeah,
how old is he? How old is he registered as?
37 or 39, isn't it?
37.
Yeah, I think he just turned 37.
I think irrespective of him though, he can bang, and I think irrespective of the age, the knockouts are devastating. They are devastating. Ortiz.
Okay.
So
Ortiz can box. Ortiz can box and he can hit.
Yeah.
And he's in terms of size, he's legitimate heavyweight. So where the likes of Joshua are very pumped up in terms of muscle mass, and that's you can that kind of reflective in his range of movement. I think Ortiz is legitimately that size.
Yeah, but because he's that old, he can legitimately grow into the weight. Sorry, because he's 40 odd. It's natural genetics. Do you know what I mean?
What about Tony Yoka and Joe Joyce? What do you think about their prospects?
I think if they, sorry, is Joe Joyce definitely going pro?
Where else is he going to
No.
go?
No, he's not definitely going pro at all. He's doing that thing that they're all doing. Boatsi's doing it as well, where they just go, "What are my options? What can I do? What can I do?" I expect Joe Joyce to stay as a career amateur.
Really?
I don't think Yoka will go pro. No, I don't expect Yoka to go pro. If what his fiance is saying is true, then probably not.
I won't ask any questions about that.
I had Klitschko was very close to signing Yoka to his company.
Really?
Yeah.
One interesting point.
Well, he's not close to signing for Joshua, is he? So
Sorry?
I don't know about he's not.
It's
Yeah,
all
I don't know
rumours.
about Klitschko's signature. Yeah. Nah, look, you know me. When it comes to this, I don't buy the blogs or the gossip, man. Yoka's a hero in France right now, and he's looking at it like anyone would and go, "I'm underpowered in the heavyweight division, and I'm undersized at the moment. So it will take at least a year and a half for me to get up to speed."
Yeah.
And young heavyweight, it's a crowded division in Europe. Like, we don't get to see the European boxers, but it seems every country's churning out its 6'5", 6'6" heavyweight, and they all have about 7 or 8 wins and no losses.
France has got some animals. France has got people with 22 wins and 1 loss. France, there's one guy saw down at the gym. He was over here in London recently. They've got some animals. Look, guys, this I think it presents. Probably, I'm not sure we've answered any questions in terms of what the hell is going on with the heavyweight division. It's kind of a mix of much the same. Nothing's going to change in the next 3 years. Anyone exciting? Not really. But this is boxing, all right? It takes maybe 6 months for someone to emerge. Box Media TV, getting some insights from coverage of some of the great guys emerging at domestic level. And I think maybe that is one of the answers. It's not so much about a young guy popping up through the amateurs or with a devastating knockout record age 19. It's about some of the seasoned, experienced professionals really going through the motions of, Southern area to English to British Championship, European level, and really grinding out the victories and just really rising to prominence, as a fully fledged adult, but age 35, 36, and really announcing themselves on the scene, having gone through the rounds, having done their time, so to speak. And there's a few guys on the circuit who are hoping to progress in that direction the next few years. But look, I suspect we're going to come back to this. I hope it's a conversation around the great fights we've seen, the great heavyweight matchups there were on the 10th of December, rather than one of disappointment that there was no announcement. But what I would like to do is a slight change of direction. Is talk about the card yesterday, the matchroom card yesterday in Birmingham, and some of the contender for fight of the year between Gavin and Eggington, and really a sad day for Anthony Ogogo. Gentlemen, did we all enjoy the action?
Yeah. Thankfully, unfortunately, I was in Barcelona, so they didn't show the Eggington card, but thankfully, thanks to Box Media TV, I was able to catch up on some of the fights. I watched the Ogogo Cunningham one, and I really enjoyed that fight. Definitely enjoyed that fight.
Why did you enjoy it, Junior? I mean, let's get technical.
Do you know what? Yeah, but do you know what? Ogogo, you guys probably would totally disagree with this, but for some reason he reminds me of Khan. I don't know if it's the amateur boxing style or what, but he seems to have all of Khan's weaknesses with none of his strengths. So he just reminds me of Khan. I mean, like in the second round, Cunningham just bullied him and just ruffled him and just threw him raggedly to the floor, and then just came in with that devastating 1-2. That 1-2 combination was working throughout the whole fight. He kept getting in and out of range, and when he was in range, he kept hitting him with that lovely straight right and overhand left combination all day. It was there all day for him, and I was impressed with Cunningham's defensive work as well. You know, he did a few parries and blocked with his elbow quite well as well, and showed good feet. He was very awkward as well. The southpaw stance helped him, and Ogogo could just couldn't figure him out. He just couldn't figure him out. I was getting frustrated. Yeah, he frustrated Ogogo as well. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant fight.
I tend to agree. I think you know, as in terms of, even as an amateur, I mean, just personal opinion, I don't really rate Ogogo too highly. He seems to be quite a workhorse, someone with great work ethic, but technically as a boxer, I didn't really think he was great as an amateur. And in terms of power, strength, didn't think he was great. And as a pro, I was surprised when he went pro. When he has been fit, I haven't been overly impressed. I think that's probably a very good analogy. Pretty much all of Khan's weaknesses, but none of his strengths. You know, never has really seemed to be in control of his body or what he's doing when in the boxing ring as a pro. And seemed like it was his first time fighting a southpaw. I know he must have wanted it, being fully fit now. He must have maybe put too much pressure on himself and needed that relaxed concentration rather than the intense, over-eager concentration.
I wanted to ask you that. Do you think that the corner was right to pull him out? I haven't heard the reason.
Apparently it was.
I had him losing like by a mile.
So he was losing handsomely.
The commentators are saying, "No, there's only one round in it."
No. They do that because institutionally, you know, he's from the GB squad, etc. So the institution is going to support him, and we'd have got a Ricky Burns result, so to speak. So
I think the problem with that, the issue with that is that if you watched it, Cunningham was on the back foot for a lot of the fight. So he was fighting on the back foot. He was actually absorbing quite a few shots, but all on the gloves, and then coming back. But if you're talking about scoring shots, I feel like Cunningham was probably producing the more scoring shots.
He throws his arms around the shots, and his body's like his legs and upper body are doing something to do different things. The claim has been blurred vision. Apparently, he was suffering blurred vision towards the end of the fight. So the corner pulled him. That is what has been reported. Terry, any thoughts?
It was sad to watch that fight. The kid looked like he was second guessing himself. Cunningham isn't really that good. I'm glad that he won because it's a chance to provide for his family, and to be honest, that's why they're all in it. So congratulations to him. I did like how he tried to copy a lot of Sergio Martinez's little tricks. So actually attacking by circling left and controlling by circling right, which, considering how limited he is, that was actually pretty impressive. It shows how bad Ogogo was because he couldn't figure that one out. Yeah. So it makes you wonder what 4 years in the GB setup's actually worth.
Have you never sparred a southpaw before? You know,
I thought he broke mentally. Like, I was watching him, and it was like
Terry. I think he's been broken mentally for a very long time. I don't think it happened.
But you saw a guy. You saw a guy fall to pieces. Like literally, like he was almost having to tell himself how to jab in that fight. That was the worrying thing.
Yeah, but very true, Terry. Very true. But in his previous pro fights, has he jabbed properly?
Yeah. Yes.
I disagree.
When he was in Germany in his last fight, his 1-2 looked like it was working. You looked at it and you went, okay, I can see the progression now. And everything he did well in that fight fell apart in this one. And I don't know why. It just looked like that whole Jan and the Steffi Graf thing where suddenly you're having to tell yourself how to jab and how to move. Cunningham obviously sensed that.
To me, if in all his pro fights there's only one where he looked like he knew what he was doing, that tells me he didn't know it was coincidence. If 95% of the times he's fought as a pro, he hasn't been in control of his body and what he's doing, That one fight where he looked like he was vaguely in control, I think that was by chance. Guys, okay, let's talk about the main event. You know, Gavin Eggington. Gavin comes in overweight. You know, he missed the check weight and was told there was too much weight to take off in 2 days. So he was comfortably overweight. A bad sign in terms of his professionalism. Probably his purse probably got dumped for that reason. But at the same time, should have been coming in comfortable, powerful. You know, ready to go to action. What happened, and is it the end?
The end is a broad statement. I think he's still got fights left at the domestic level.
What rematch with Skeet? You think?
No, I think Skeet's come a long way since the last time they fought. Skeet's very seasoned, and I feel like Skeet's.
You're saying Skeet would beat him this time around?
Yeah, quite. I think quite comfortably. I think after watching the Eggington versus Skeet fight as well, Skeet's very, very technical. Very technical. I don't think the height advantage that he has would give Gavin any real stock, and he doesn't hit hard enough to really trouble Skeet now.
So you're saying Gavin can't rise to being top at domestic level again. So is it?
But no, but I think
I'll ask the question again, guys. Is it the end?
No, I think domestically, well, Skeet's obviously going to defend his title, and then look forward. So I don't really see Skeet in that domestic battle with Gavin. I think Gavin. I don't really know where he goes. The end is, like I said, the end's a broad statement, but he will be fighting domestically.
Okay, right. So to Terry Jr., let's talk about the guy who did make weight, who worked hard, who kept his word, fought as he said he'd fight, and won the fight in devastating fashion. Probably giving us one of the, I think it was round 6, was it?
Round 6, yeah.
One of the rounds of the year. Terry, your take on Eggington?
Don't like him. Would sooner he was out of the sport. He sets a bad example. The guy can't box. He's tough and he's fit. That's about it. Not really my cup of tea.
What do you mean a bad example, Terry?
If you've got a young kid there, you're basically saying to a young kid, mate, if you want to box like that, just walk into the ring, take a stack load of punishment, but as long as you have your chin and you have some lungs, you're all good.
Okay.
I mean, Eggington's going to be a 50-year-old guy, not realising he's 50 years old. He won't even know where he is. That's the worrying part of this.
But if we slightly extend that analogy, you know, take your punishment, have a great set of lungs on you. The Scott Quiggs, the Eubank Juniors of this world, are they so different?
I put them in the same bucket, to be honest with you, and I've been very clear about that. There's no finesse to any of those names you've just mentioned. And you know what really upsets me the most about watching that fight yesterday? There's a man called Larry Akandayo. Who's far better than both of them put together.
The natural. Yeah, he'll never get that opportunity.
And they won't put him on TV.
He will never get that opportunity. Terry, I agree with you 100% there. You know, and
that's a big injustice.
It needs to be questioned. It needs to be questioned. You know, and I agree with you, Terry. That's an excellent point.
I mean, it's two sides. I like Sam Eggington, man. I think he's an honest fighter. I enjoy watching him as a punter. I enjoyed. Well, I think he got found out against Bradley Skeet, to be quite honest with you. But I guess you look at it twofold. You look at it from the perspective of if you're wanting your maybe son or someone you're training to be fighting in a refined style, you're not really going to suggest watching the Eggington tapes. But to watch it, like Ed said and like Eddie Hearn said as well, round 6 possibly kind of contender for round of the year. That's what he's going to draw. He's going to draw that exciting kind of nature to it. So for Eddie Hearn, he's really excited to have someone like that on the books because it's fun. It's fun to watch, and the fighters the punters will come again and watch him fight. But I do agree in some respects in terms of faculties. He just has to be careful because he already looks quite duffed up at this stage. But I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, I think you guys have covered Eggington quite well. I just want to mention something on Gavin, and that's that he was a really good amateur, and I think he just failed to live up to his expectations as an amateur. I think he won. Was he world amateur champion or something?
Can I refer Junior to the Carl Frost interview at the Kelvin Brook weigh-in last year? Carl covered that perfectly.
What did he say?
Carl said that word. Well, Frankie Gavin, are we going to keep talking about how he was world champion in 2009 and has failed to live up to his potential because he's too
exactly.
lazy?
Exactly, but what I wanted to mention with Frankie Gavin as well, and it's something that always struck me with him. I always thought he was too small for welterweight. He didn't have enough power or anything else. So the fact that he didn't make weight, I always thought he'd be better at 140, light welterweight.
Let's be clear, guys. That in terms of excellent skill level, but in terms of physiology and conditioning, not too dissimilar to your Billy Joe Saunders. When you look at that torso and the relative porkiness in comparison to some of the lean, mean athletes we see out there now. Look, guys, yesterday was a great card. It's a great discussion, but as always, we can go on forever. Let's take this one offline, and let's wrap up with some of the Box Media TV news over the past week. Adrian.
Yep, so guys, as per usual, boxmediatv.com, latest boxing, education, entertainment and news. There's quite a few features on there, obviously updated every day, so get your daily supply. So just a quick one. Last week, it was good to see Terry down at the York Hall as well. We covered the Dove Box promotion a card, and it saw quite a few kind of domestic local fighters fighting. One guy who probably stood out, well, Dominic Akinlade's fight was quite entertaining, but also we saw Ashley Dumas in action, and we also saw a few of the other guys. Terry, what was your thoughts on that card, just very briefly?
You know what? I was cynical and then I got up there, man. I saw you guys. I saw the rest of the boxing blogging community out there. The energy was good. And then Dom did his thing, man. And look, I was stood next to Ed at the end of that first round, and we looked at each other like, this could end badly. And then 3 minutes later, like, just the elation and like the raw emotion. I'm glad no one filmed that, because it got very real.
As a media professional, I tried to retain impartiality, so I too am glad that I wasn't under surveillance at that point in time, Terry.
But I'll say this about Dominic: if they ever do another film about Muhammad Ali, they have to have Dom in there, because Dom looks like he just came out in 1975, and I like that about him.
Cheers.
He's just so old school. Like, doesn't shave his chest, nothing. Just old school.
He's rugged. He's a rugged guy, and it was a rugged. Well, not a rugged performance. It was a rustic performance. Very rustic. Also, Chris 2 Slick Congo is very impressive. I think former GB athlete, amateur, and he had a massive following. So
Class.
I think he's someone, especially when we're talking about kind of Box Media TV, looking to the future of who could maybe make some waves. I think he's definitely one that stood out for me. In terms of the following, ticket sales probably were very strong as well, and he put on a very cultured performance. So that was excellent.
So when I talk to promoters, like, his name is brought up, so people say to me, "What is this kid like?" And the word I always used to describe him is, he has it all. Whether he hits a high level is up to him, but there's nothing in his makeup that holds him back from being elite level.
Yeah, look, he comes across. There's a level of composure, and what I'd call it is maturity in the way he speaks. Very similar to Ashley Demetz in terms of maturity, actually, in the way they speak and analyse their own performance. It's almost soothing to hear them talk about boxing, and soothing in the later rounds of their fight, soothing to see them in the ring. So really, Chris, I think he really should go on and go very far, and we're gonna really hopefully be there to be part of and document that journey.
Yeah, it should be good. Another quick one from stateside. Keith Thurman sends Danny Garcia a serious message. Obviously, Keith Thurman not too happy about Danny Garcia enjoying one too many tubs of Ben and Jerry's cherry ice cream. I can't even for the life of me remember who's fighting next. But Garcia, Sammy Vargas, that's the one. But Garcia's defended himself, saying that this is a tune-up fight, and I believe they say Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia will be next up 2017. So just a quick snippet from you guys of what you think about that.
I like what Angel Garcia said. Angel Garcia's the dad, right?
Yeah.
And he was just like, listen, you guys are all having a go at my son, but you all hated on my son. When he fought Khan, you hated on my son. When he fought Matisse, you hated on my son. You can't have expectations of a guy that you hated. Next year, we're going to take care of Thurman. You're going to hate us then, but you'll love us afterwards. I think that's what he's summarizing in one of his interviews. And that's how I feel. Like, I think Garcia's led a charmed life. But he has that thing that I respect in boxers. He'll always find a way to win, and you won't expect the approach he takes.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny. I think he might be a problem in terms of motivation because his toughest fights, on paper anyway, the Khan fight and the Matisa fight, he won convincingly. The ones where he's expected to win, against I think Peterson, and who was the other guy when the Puerto Rican domestic dust up? I forget the name now. Those are the fights that seem to be tougher. So I think there might be a slight issue in terms of motivation when there's fights he's expected to win. But against in terms of his biggest fights, Matisse and Khan so far, he won them convincingly. So I expect it to be an excellent fight if himself and Furman do get it on, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Junior, briefly.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've just got one word to say. Finally, we're getting one of these guys fighting each other, you know, and I can't wait to see Errol Spence in the mix in the future of that as well.
Yeah, that should be good. Errol will just stir that pot further. Maybe throw a spanner in for a few of the guys. And then finally, Kell Brook has stated on Twitter again that 2017 he wants to clash with Amir Khan. Obviously, Khan's just off the back of, I think, double hand surgery or something, injury in his hand. So he said he's back next year, March next year. He's targeting a date. So
yeah, Amir Khan for the past 12 years has only been boxing at 30% power because his hands have been broken all along. So we look forward to that.
How long has his chin been broken for?
His chin's been broken for just 11 years too. Yeah, so I think
we can leave that. Yeah, there's not really too much we should talk about.
But you know, but I'll be real and say this. Yeah? I actually don't think that fight will happen. I'll tell you why. I'm going to give one serious reason and one flippant reason. One, Miguel Cotto needs a dance partner for next year. And he needs someone who will draw big money. Brook will draw big money. And it means Brook doesn't have to make 147 and can still fight a credible name. Second reason is Bradis Prescott fought yesterday at welterweight. So expect Khan to tell us why he needs to fight Bradis Prescott before he fights Kell Brook.
Thanks, Terry.
You reckon he'll get back in there with Bradis Prescott? I don't see him getting back in there with Bradis Prescott. Even though Bradis Prescott is shot, I just don't see it.
I would love it. I hope he.
He might do, but he might say to Kell Brook, "You got to fight Bradis Prescott before you fight me."
And just for the record, I've heard the bookmakers have stopped taking bets on Khan not fighting next year at all. So,
all right, guys, that's the end of the news segment anyway. But Box Media TV, also on Instagram, Box Media TV. We're on everywhere. Twitter. We're on Tumblr. We're on iTunes as well. So the podcast's available on iTunes now. Box Media Talk, on iTunes also to download.
Guys, great conversation. The future of the heavyweight division. Maybe we're looking too far ahead to try and predict the next 3 years, and then we'll talk about it then. Great weekend of boxing. You've been Box Media Talks, brought to you by Box Media TV. Until next time, keep your guard up.